I still remember the way old man Jemba screamed that night. It was not the usual shouts of an angry man. It was the kind that made your skin crawl, the kind that told you something terrible had happened. We all rushed out of our houses. The moonlight was bright enough to see Jemba standing in front of his goat pen, holding his head with both hands. The gate was wide open, and inside, one of his fattest goats lay on the ground, its throat slit, its body still warm. "It's the children," he whispered, shaking his head. "These children, no one trains them anymore." Jemba was right. The story of what happened that night started years before, with 3 boys, Shaka, Muley, and Jiro. They grew up in our village, running through the dusty paths, playing by the river, stealing mangoes from people's trees. At first, it seemed harmless. "They're just children," their mothers would say whenever someone scolded them. "Boys will be boys." But as they grew, so did their mischief. When they were 10, they started skipping school. The teacher would come to their homes, but their parents just laughed it off. "They'll learn when they are ready," they said. When they were 12, they stole from market stalls. It started with small things, ground nuts, a piece of roasted corn. The stall owners would grab them and threaten to take them to the chief, but their parents would beg. "They are just children," they said. "They will stop when they grow up." By the time they were 15, no one could control them. They had stopped listening to their parents. They walked through the village like they owned it. They took what they wanted, bullied younger children, and sneered at the elders. "They are just children" had become, "We don't know what to do with them." And then came the night of Jemba's stolen goat. It didn't take long to find out who did it. Shaka, Muley, and Jiro had been drinking at the abandoned hut near the river. They had slaughtered the goat, roasted it, and eaten until their bellies were full. When Jemba and some other men from the village found them, the boys laughed. "It's just one goat," Shaka said, wiping his greasy hands on his shirt. But this time, the village had had enough. The chief was called. The parents were called. The boys were dragged to the village square. Everyone was there. The chief looked at them for a long time before he spoke. "This started with small things," he said. "When they stole fruit, you laughed. When they missed school, you ignored it. When they stole from the market, you excused it. Now, they are grown, and they think they can take whatever they want. No one said a word. They have disrespected an elder," the chief continued. "They have stolen. They have taken what was not theirs. This will not go unpunished." The boys were given a choice: leave the village or face severe consequences. Their parents begged, but the chief did not change his mind. The next morning, Shaka, Muley, and Jiro were gone. Do not ignore the following lessons in this story. 1. Bad habits start small. If you ignore them, they grow into something worse. 2. Excusing a child's wrong actions today will make them uncontrollable tomorrow. 3. The way you raise your children shapes their future and the future of your community. 4. Parents must take responsibility for teaching their children right from wrong. 5. If you do not correct a child early, society will do it for you, and the price will be heavy.
Subscribe and like to see how the story unfolds in Part 2.